Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BPL Season 3. This is the round of 16 Group C, and this is round 1 of Group C, and this is going to be game 1 between two incredibly strong players. We've got ZLO, or really ZLO, which I learned means evil in Russian, and Lopatka. And I mean, these are both really scary players. I think ZLO, more than anyone else, is one of those players that is just an ageless wonder. I feel like he's been around forever. But Zateo, what do you think about this matchup?
Honestly, I haven't really seen these guys play all that much, but I know ZLO. I was watching him a little bit when I was learning bar, and he's pretty darn good. We'll have to see how this goes.
Yeah, he definitely, he's been around for a while, and he's great. I think he's a really good player. He also does a bunch of Russian content actually for bar, which I didn't know, but yeah, I didn't know that either. And Yoda Nico was like, oh yeah, you've never seen like his bar content? I was like, no. He's like, well, it's in Russian, so that makes sense. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So for those of you who are just catching up, we've done Group A and Group B. So from Group A, Chisato and Alt F4 Ubivater, which I hopefully pronounced correctly, moved through. And in Group B, Teddy and Contra moved on through. Zateo, any kind of upsets you think in A and B?
Well, I mean, I would have expected Goopy to go through. Goopy's, such a strong player.
Yeah, fair enough.
So that in Group A, and then in Group B, I'm pretty surprised that X Factor got knocked out so quickly. But I don't really know what kind of shape, if he prepared for it or not, or you said he was having some trouble with his auto groups.
Yeah, with auto groups. I remember he was complaining about auto groups. So
yeah, can definitely impact your play if you're not, if you can't use something that you're known or used to using.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think you're right. And in terms of this series, so this is a little bit of the history, and we can look and you can actually see ZLO last season was like third, fourth, right? We don't actually have the deciding third, fourth match, but I mean, he made it super, super deep. Sash Korin made it to the round of 16. Lopatka made it to the round of 16, and Shadi did not play. So interesting.
Yeah,
right?
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, these players are a little bit newer. They've definitely been practicing a lot. And it's kind of up to what kind of shape everyone's in too, right? So
yeah, for sure.
I'm excited to see how all this goes.
Likewise. So 4 players in the group, and round 1 is going to be ZLO versus Lopatka, which we are about to get into, and the second game is going to be Shadi versus Sash Korin. So yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some good ones here. Are you favoring? I feel like I'm favoring ZLO in this matchup here, but what are you thinking, Zateo?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much feeling the same thing. Like I was saying, I don't really know these players too well, so I don't really know, how much they've been practicing and who should really be favored, honestly.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Lopatka has done relatively well. ZLO, I think, is just higher OS, and I think he's just maybe has a little bit more experience to fall back on, but I guess we'll see.
Right.
And, okay, so Fallen Ban out of ZLO, which I feel like we've seen this map banned a lot, no?
Yeah, quite a bit. It's a little bit of a different map, so I think people are a little bit less comfortable on it. And yeah, shallow straights, that's pretty expected.
One day, Zateo, we are going to see a shallow straights game. And when it happens, I hope it happens in like the semifinals or something. I am going to be so happy.
Yeah, well, I think you were saying, or someone was saying that Shadi's been picking shallow straights a bit.
Yeah,
in like the last round.
He picked it in the qualifiers a couple times. So maybe this is his group, right? Maybe we get to see glory.
Today might be the day.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm saying. All right. And we are on Feast of Hades. So I'm excited for that. I mean, I think Feast of Hades is absolutely awesome map. Like, I think it's great. So I'm excited to see it. We also a little bit more of a macro map, so I could see ZLO maybe favoring it, but I hear players loading in, and I am gonna stop talking and start watching.
All right.
So Lopatka in blue in the bottom right. Looks like we've got a little bit of a core vehicle open. Interesting. And ZLO is core, but hasn't dropped his lab yet. I mean, we see bots, we see vehicles. I think this is really just a personal preference thing, but with the spawn position so different, do you feel like ZLO might end up going bots instead of vehicles?
That's I think it's a hard question. I mean, you can pretty much do either from either side. It just, I think the forward position kind of lends itself to a more aggressive attack, or a more aggressive approach to the match.
Yeah. Oh, and just going to be core vehicles, so get ready for Rascal versus Rascal and Sizer versus Sizer.
Yeah, I think vehicles are a great choice. You kind of have this like nice, well, if it's against bots, you have this nice potential for like a timing window where you can just kind of rush in there with a lot of tanks if you set yourself up just right. But in this matchup with just vehicle on vehicle, I think it's going to be a kind of a slow opener with just a lot of a lot of expanding before we get into too much else besides.
I just realized
scout harass.
Lopatka went 2 mechs instead of 3 mechs. He hasn't even capped his 3rd mechs yet.
Oh wow, yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. You'd expect that it'd be capped by now,
right? I mean, he's like whatever 150. Well, he's like 120 metal behind.
Yeah,
that's like a whole incisor. It's kind of weird. I mean, he caps it now, but
I mean, I guess he just wanted to get that scout out like super fast.
But his scout
just seems kind of weird.
I mean, his scout's not that much faster though, right? Like,
right.
I guess it is technically faster, but I feel like ZLO scout's going to get in there almost as quickly.
Yeah, I don't know. That's definitely an interesting take. I've not seen that, and I would, I think most people would just say that that's probably not as optimal, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's got a plan for it.
Yep. Let's find out here. So both scouts are coming in.
All right. Sorry, looks like
yeah, one got cleaned up.
Lopatka cleaned up.
And ZLO cleaned up his. Had some slight camera issues there for a second. So I mean, they both get vision of the other, and they see the labs. They know what the other one is and where they spawned. But I don't think that's really. I mean, all they got was info, right? They didn't really. It's not like there was any economic damage done.
Yeah, not a lot done. I think we've seen a lot of players kind of go very heavy scout, but it's kind of interesting seeing that both of these players are just, kind of just sending that initial scout out, seeing what they can find, and then just kind of going into macro mode.
Yeah, I mean, this is pure greed. Look at this queue. 4 cons, 3 rascals from Lopatka? What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's the type
you don't want to do that against Contra, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, that's the type of thing in an 8v8. It's an immediate pause and kick ban vote is probably queued up.
Yeah, right.
So ZLO has 1 expanding con. He has 2 expanding cons actually, and then he has his 3rd con in base, and he's dropping into incisors now. And Lopatka, a little bit of I thought his commander was going to go back. I thought it was an X Factor build, but it's not. His commander is just walking straight towards middle.
Yeah, I mean, once you run out of metal like that, it's a good time to just kind of send your commander out and just like secure some stuff, with the commander, since he can build so much faster.
And I don't think this rascal was seen on radar from ZLO, so maybe he can sneak in and. Oh wait, no, I think it has been spotted. He tries. He's gonna run around a little bit, but he's not gonna be able to run through. And there's a chasing rascal as well, which is gonna make it a little bit difficult for him.
Yeah, I think his radar went up like right when it was like coming around, so. It's going to get picked off, but we'll see how fast these guys are able to expand. I think Lopatka is going to be in a little bit better of a situation here because he has his commander out so early.
Yeah, and I mean, pushing mid, if he can hold the hill on the right side here, I think that's great. But if you can push mid earlier and get the 6 mechs, that's a lot of metal, and that's the type of thing where once you have that metal in decent E, you can definitely do a Sala transition, and Salamanders are no joke.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, ZLO is actually just leaving his commander at base, trying to boost his lab, but he doesn't have any metal to boost it with. So this is a pretty big blunder in my opinion.
On the same time, he is microing that rascal, so he was able to come back through and he snipes one mech. There isn't a con nearby to replace it, so he'll have to run someone over to take it. So that's a nice little bit of economic damage.
Yeah, little bits here and there. It's always nice.
Got some raiding incisors coming out, and yeah, all right, so these are all individual vehicle cons expanding. How do you feel in terms of the individual con, like 2 cons expanding in opposite directions versus 2 cons expanding in one direction, building faster?
I mean, I think it depends on your take on it, right? It's kind of like a play style type of thing. But I guess personally, like if you're going to go for more of a spread out approach, like you're going to build those things slower, and that means the LT gets up slower, so it's a little bit less it's easy to raid that at that point. But if you send multiple out together, then they can like build it up really quickly.
Oh, he might get degunned here. He needs to be really careful.
Boy.
Slow. Oh, he sees it. All right. Man, what was the game yesterday where we saw like
man,
I can't remember what that game was. I think it was X Factor versus Modulo or something, and like 8 incisors got degunned at once. That was
crazy. Yeah, those deguns can be a really big deal. You got to really be on the ball and watch your units as you send them around the map.
And hello, Lopatka has blueprints for an air lab down, which might be a little early. I feel like a lot of times when we see the second lab, it's when you have a bit more energy, and it's generally a little bit more in like this, I don't know, the 7 to probably really like the 8-minute mark.
Yeah, let's see. I'm taking a look at the queue. Oh no, he's just putting it down first. Okay, yeah, he definitely does not have the energy for this at this time. Yeah, that's gonna be a little bit rough here, trying to build those air units while trying to build vehicles as well. Yeah, a bit of a raid here.
He has these two cons, and there's nothing defending him. I think these incisors get both, don't they? And they get the mechs.
Oh yeah, easy.
Oh no.
And probably the mech sticking out there too.
Yeah, so they're able to get that, but Lopatka does have a little bit of a counter. He's got these incisors running up. They're going to clean up.
Yeah, he's got those on the bottom, and then he's got another pile of incisors going through the top.
Yeah, it looks like this bottom raid is just going to kind of get immediately stopped in a second here, but this top raid might be able to do a bit more. ZLO has seen it, so let's see how he decides to respond. He's going to pull a bunch more units over, and he does have that LLT to kind of hold.
Yeah, I don't think the LT is going to be quite enough, but yeah, with all those extra units, he should be fine.
Oh, and he snuck an incisor into snuck an incisor into Lopatka's base on the bottom here.
Oh yeah.
Snipe in another expanding con. That's the 3rd con in like a minute.
Yikes! But yeah, there's also 2 more incisors right above the base, but I'm sure he is shutting them down. But that means air is revealed.
Yeah, so now he knows. Now he can be a little bit more prepared. But
yeah,
on the one hand, right, I mean, incisors aren't absolutely horrible versus Shuris. They can still kind of shoot him down. So unless there's an overwhelming number, he probably feels safe as long as they're grouped. But it definitely is going to limit that sort of individual or small unit harassment.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looks like ZLO is going in the bots to get some anti-air bots up to deal with the eventuality of a bunch of Shuris coming in.
10 Trashers queued, and oh, maybe I spoke too soon. These 2 Shuris are locking down a lot of incisors, and Lopatka's coming up, and his own incisors are punishing. So this is a little rough for ZLO. Oh, he does have reinforcing units though.
Yeah, the reinforcements should be good, and now he'll have that wreck pile.
Yeah.
And now that he has bots, he can produce those res bots. So.
Oh, that is a good point. He doesn't have him queued yet, but that actually is a very good point now that he's opened it up. And Lopatka's commander has walked not to middle, but all the way up to kind of cut off this corner, interestingly enough.
Yeah, that is a very interesting take. I usually wouldn't say that that's too optimal. Like, you want to cut in more towards your opponent so that those mechs are a bit safer. Because, yeah, as it is, his commander's just kind of out there defending, what isn't really a lot of mexes.
Yeah, I mean, also both players have dropped quite a bit of basic solar, and core title is better than basic solar on this, isn't it? Because core title is what?
Oh yeah,
85. Yeah, I mean it's 85 for 15, right? So,
yeah. Well, yeah, and I think for it's like the points at which it's comparable is like at like I want to say it's at like 12 tide or something like that. So like with it being at 15 tide, like yeah, for sure.
So yeah, because we've seen quite a few people who they get their comms to mid, they'll take those mexes, they kind of fortify it, and then in one of the pools they'll build tidal, and in the other pool they build the amphibious complex, or sometimes they do it in the same pool, and then you can kind of Sala. But I guess
yeah, that's a pretty strong move to like occupy that middle area there for that reason.
Yeah, and I mean Salas are pretty energy intensive, so maybe they just feel like at the moment they're not able to do it.
Maybe.
So Lopatka has Brutes queued up now. It looks like he's gonna start the transition out of incisors, and so is ZLO. ZLO is just Brute and Khan, and here are the Resbots that we talked about a little bit earlier. So they're coming over. He had previously reclaimed that rec field, but now he does have the Resbots.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the Resbots are he can also like scoop up a lot of energy with those as well. So. Pretty good unit to have on this map.
And there's a little bit of posturing up in the north. It feels like the south kind of has a little bit more of like a peace accord going on, and in the north we've got these actually pretty large number of incisors, right? There's 15 incisors with Shuri support coming over to see what they can harass or see what they can do, but ZLO's ready. I mean, he has an even larger army here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Lopatka has all of his units up there. ZLO has a lot of units up there as well, but he also has his bottom force that could potentially do something.
Yeah, I mean, he's just out ecoing him, right? It feels like
yeah,
just this army value difference is insane. 9.6k to 6.2k. He just straight up has more units, and I think that makes these engagements really scary for Lopatka. He's going to have to get a lot of value out of these Shuris.
Yeah, for the most part, it looks like Lopatka has mainly just like foregone expanding at the bottom left. So if that pretty much just goes to ZLO, then I think Lopatka's going to be in a lot of trouble here.
ZLO's Khan still hasn't left base. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, he just keeps boosting. I mean, it's a good boost, but yeah. I mean, I guess I... Go ahead.
Here's the raid. So Lopatka's coming in here. He gets that extractor, and then I guess he forced him over. Oh, he tried to pull the Shuris in, but they were grouped, and he lost all of them except for one.
Yikes. Yeah, I mean, I think ZLO is doing a great job of keeping anti-air bots with his army. That's something that for a while, like I would just not see players do that, and it just like kind of was strange to me. Like if there's anti-air bots with the army, is kind of, should be a thing to consider.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of army here from ZLO.
There's a ton here. I'm trying to figure out if he wants to actually come in here because he's seen the commander, or what he thinks the best play is. I mean, that commander is on radar. He knows it's there. And he has this pretty massive incisor force on the bottom that was sitting there for a while, and now it's going to actually make its move, and there's nothing in front of it? What?
Yeah, unfortunately, Lopatka's just now building that radar down there, so he just sees it finally, but it's too late. These are going to get into the base.
Actually, I missed that Lopatka went T2, so there are defensive tigers.
He did.
Which...
Yeah, I mean, not the greatest defensive unit, but we'll see if these shoot those units away. I mean, it looks like ZLO is just going around anyways.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to fight that, right? If he can sneak through and just kill mexes, why not?
Right.
So Tiger's gonna run up and try to chase it, and he's making more Tigers. Hilariously enough, this almost feels like a situation where I kind of want to say you might want Salamanders here, right? They're faster, and they're not slowed as much by the terrain. They can just run up and down that terrain quickly.
Yeah, I would think so. And it looks like that's kind of going to be ZLO's response is an amphibious complex, so he's just building that now. But yeah, still a lot of units back here from ZLO in Lopatka's base.
Yeah, I mean, ZLO's coming through. He killed all those back mexes.
One's even coming into the wind here.
Yeah, he got, what, 2 windmills? Might get 3, gets 4. Oh,
I
boy.
mean, there's quite a few. I mean, it's not like the end of the world. There's plenty of other wind turbines, and he even has some advanced solar, so he should be fine. Yeah, meanwhile, ZLO has not transitioned into advanced solar at all. So he just like queued up a lot of basic solars, actually.
Yeah, basic
but yeah, that's a lot of
solars.
metal that he's spending on that, and not on, units right now.
Yeah, I mean, he does just have a much larger mechs count, though. You're looking at, what, 94 income to 64 income? So even if it's not quite as efficient, I guess he feels like he can just do it. And technically, if he does go T2, he can always just reclaim it later for the fusion swap.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true.
The other nice benefit with solars is if you're spamming them and you're making other units, they don't ever hamper your ability to make, other units, because you don't burn through any energy while you're making them.
I mean, they can if you're stalled on metal like ZLO is, though.
Right. Oh, and Lopatka pushing up now with these tigers. There's a little bit of an engagement here. Does he actually want to take this fight, though?
I don't think he does. I mean, I don't think either player really does. I mean, Lopatka needs to, but yeah, it's not really in his favor.
And ZLO is raiding some brutes trying to get into the main, and he sees the BP here. Can he snipe it? No. I think he's just gonna run in, and he gets the vision, but these tigers are gonna clean it up. Little bit of a metal donation, but he has another attack force coming in. I feel like he can't really fight into this, right? He needs this collection of salas. He's got the 3 salas in the pool right here. He needs to get a few more salamanders, and then he can maybe figure something out. But
yeah, well, and I like the fact that he didn't like really push too hard with a lot of stuff. Like he's just kind of like very cautiously going in, because I think he knows at this point that he's ahead on economy.
Top has a massive push from ZLO. He is shredding through all of it. Lopatka's coming to respond, but this is a little scary because there's basically a natural surround from ZLO's units here. So all these brutes are coming up. ZLO's units.
Yeah, and I think at this point he's basically just like trying to move Lopatka's army all the way up there to defend that area, and then meanwhile the amphibious should probably go in at some point.
Yeah, he'll be ready for it. He sees that big group of tigers rolling through the bottom to start picking off these mexes, and these are undefended mexes, so these tigers actually could probably get quite a bit of damage done.
They're both expanding into the same mechs, by the way, just a little bit over from that.
Oh yeah.
Little goofy. Oh, the exploiter's gonna win though, right? Anyways.
Sorry, I was looking back. So ZLO's gonna go in with this brute raid, and there's not really that much here, right? Those tigers are off fighting other units and trying to raid, so he doesn't have anything here that's ready to stop it. Whoa, and his commander is just de-gunning off a few things. His commander is safe, but his main is in a lot of trouble right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just kind of trying to counterattack, since tigers aren't the greatest at defending. But
and he's about to see the salas. They all pop off on radar, and he has to go, wait a minute, what are those? And here they come, 10 salas. I think.
And it's quite a few salas, and I like the fact that ZLO did that. Like, he held them back for a minute, built up a sizable force, and then went in.
Yeah, and just went in to actually end the game right here. And I mean, this is critically brutal damage. What is Lopatka even gonna do? These salas are picking off all the energy. They haven't killed the lab, but they killed all the BP. They got the A solar, they got the air lab, and the brutes are coming in and helping as well. And even if all these salas die, I feel like this is essentially just lethal damage dealt.
Yeah, it's pretty lethal. There's a couple of tigers for Lopatka running into ZLO's base.
Yeah, he does.
Let's see what they can get done. It's not like a ton of damage, but like, it's something. It's something.
It does help. ZLO is still throwing all these brutes in and is still sniping everything. This T2 lab hasn't gone down yet. There is still a little bit more BP on that side, and this tiger's running in. I think the first tiger died. The second tiger has an army of units chasing it, and then he has one more tiger below, and Lopatka's gonna call it. He knows.
Yep. GG is called. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that those tigers would do some more damage, and then there'd be some potential to rebuild, but no dice.
Yeah, it felt like, I mean, it looked like it was a pretty close game until whatever that is, about 6-7 minutes, and then it seems like ZLO was able to just sort of out eco him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was a mistake or if Lopatka like chose not to expand to the bottom left as much, but yeah, ZLO just capitalized on expansions.
Yeah, I feel like you can get away with, or not get away, but I feel like it's fine to do a 2-max bot start, but I feel like a 2-max vehicle start, you end up really metal starved. And I feel like that can kind of hurt you, especially like when you need that extra con to expand. I mean, he was only whatever 150 metal behind, but I don't feel like the scout that got there, I don't know, 15 seconds earlier was really worth it, right?
Oh yeah, definitely not. I feel like that had to have been a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, maybe
because it's just like, why would you ever just not take that when you're opening vehicle? Because vehicles are so heavy on metal that if you don't take it, you're just like out of metal as soon as it's like done. You get like a tank and then you're out of metal.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a little rough for sure. But
yeah,
hey, it is what it is. There could be some nerves, right? Round of 16, starting to fight some good players. But that is game 1, which ZLO took. So series is now 1-0 to ZLO, and it can it's a best of 3. So Lopatka is fighting for his life in game 2, and we will see you there after a short break.